There might be some friction between the highly organized and the highly creative, but yeah, absolutely.
But each can benefit from the other.
Each benefits. So what were some of the results you saw as you implemented those?
We were able to transform that campus to a point where I would say the climate and morale and the culture went from about a 2 to about a 9. And I was always very proud of that.
Wow.
And I think if you talk to some of the people that were on that campus then, they would say the same thing. We had a very positive trajectory on all of those areas, and we ended up being an award-winning campus. Back then, we had, before your time probably, but we had TSAS as the kind of the accolades for campuses, and we were able to knock the top out of that, and we were very proud of what our students had accomplished, but it was all due to what we had created there in the way of doing the right things for students.
Wow. I think about a 2 culture, that was, as you said, having probably some turnover issues, some strife, unhappy teachers don't always produce happy students, right? It's normally the opposite. And so getting that to a 9, that must have impacted your turnover, your recruiting.
Yep.
And then translated into student performance.
Absolutely. And it's even more important to develop that positive culture so that we can retain the ones that we want to retain, the good ones.
Right.
But then we also have, as you are working on a daily basis, is to grow our own teachers.
Yes, yeah, it's really true. We really believe that the people in the building that have demonstrated the heart and grit, the paraprofessionals, support staff, if given the opportunity to rise up into teacher roles, really will be outstanding. Because, when we survey a room of paraprofessionals and we ask, how many of you are incredible at math? We don't get a lot of hands raised. But if I say, how many of you can build a relationship with any child? They all confidently raise their hands. Well, that is a testament to, because if you can build relationships as the foundation, then of course you can get performance out of your kids. But campus culture is the same. So if a campus leader can't build relationships or isn't good at relationships with their staff, then they never really end up with a culture that's going to thrive. And that's really our hope in sharing your testimony, to start with relationships. Yeah, there's 3 R's and yeah, there's 4 C's, but relationships is number 1. Build trusting relationships.
Yeah. And I think there are I've seen 2 different kinds of campus principals. There are those that can go too far on one side of they're the back slappers and the high fivers and attaboys, and then when you get down to the substance, there's not much to that. And then on the other hand, there are people that are not very good at building relationships but are good at academics or management or whatever, but neither one of those far ends of the spectrum are going to be solely successful. You've got to have a mix of the 2. You've got to build those positive relationships, but then when it's time to get down to the work on academics, you've got to go to work on that as well. And if you've developed that positive relationship, then it's a little easier to work on the difficult issues like that.
Absolutely. But that has to come with accountability, because if I don't ever hold someone accountable to the standard we've all agreed to, then the people that are meeting the standard start to mistrust me.
Yep.
And so I erode my relationships if I don't ultimately bring accountability. I think that's what you're saying.
And if you haven't developed that positive relationship and that culture and climate and morale, then people are going to fly out of there, and then here we go with just continuing retention issue and teacher turnover.